quarter of the way through the race, and then we'll have a complete list, and we'll really get an idea of how the pattern of the race is emerging. The race, we keep stressing, in this case is against the clock and not against the other cyclists. So if you don't follow time trials and you're wondering why they're so spaced out, it's because they all started with 90 seconds between them. Italy into 4th place at the quarter turn. Just 2 more to go round there, France and Spain. Netherlands will be looking for a medal here to follow up their excellent result in the women's event when they finished 1st and 3rd. Austria and Hofer, 2:45. 2:45 slower than the leader. So he's at the halfway point. And Denmark continues on. He was 5th at the Olympic Games at London 2012.
That as the Danish rider looks ahead, he could see the rider just ahead of him, which perhaps gives him a little more incentive just to push a little bit harder, find a little bit more, dig down deeper. See, it's just got to be a good feeling when you know you can catch up to another rider. You know you've made up that 90 seconds.
Second Ukrainian of the day. 2 minutes slower than the leader at the halfway point. And for Portugal, Reis. Only 22, so the whole of his career at senior level lies ahead of him. Done very well in under 23s. I was saying earlier on too, he was at the Youth Olympic Games in Singapore, and he won the time trial there. So he's made the step up from a very junior level, done it very quickly too.
As you look at Clement, he's one of the riders that spoke about the altitude differences as far as the hills or no hills here in the course, saying that less decisions to be made because you don't really have to worry about changing gears too often. You don't have those mountains to climb.
Portuguese again. He was 4th in the World Championships under 23s time trial last year. And now he's going to have to prove himself at the senior level. Though he's still 22, but he's doing okay. And this will be the last one around the quarter point of the race, 36 seconds behind the leader. Meanwhile, the Dane has the Czech Republic in his sights.
As encouraging as it is for a rider to pass another rider and get that momentum going, it's got to be just as discouraging and disappointing for that rider who's been passed.
And Russia, one of the pace setters, as we saw at the last split. Denmark doing well, 6th place, good rider, and he's good performance today. As we saw, he's almost caught the rider up in front of him, who's from the Czech Republic. This is how it's going so far. Belarus, Russia, Netherlands, and Italy, and the 2 Spanish riders. Sanchez looked really good earlier in the day, but as the big ones have come out, gradually slipped down. Denmark not far behind them, and Mullen for Ireland with a good round considering his tender years, just 20 years old.
And that's a pretty big gap between Kiriyanka and the number 3 rider, to be only a quarter way through. And now an equipment problem for the Russian, or it may be physical. We'll see. He's pulled over. Nope, getting a new bike, so obviously something wrong with the bicycle.
As we saw from that last caption, he's doing very well in the race, but that won't have been a help. The medals are precious. There's going to be very strong competition for silver and bronze at least. They're all going to have to go to catch Kiriyanka of Belarus.
Well, whatever happened, that was a huge moment. That's going to set him back a little bit.
Well, he was the main pursuer.
Yeah, as well as he was going.
As we saw at the last split time, Belarus in front, but the Russian was only 5 or 6 seconds away and looked the most likely to make a race of it for the gold medal. This Portuguese rider is only 22 years old, but he's about to step into the big time, having competed at under 23 and junior level. Norway in 14th place at halfway. Second Ukrainian of the day, the first one having gone extremely well. As we were saying earlier in the day, the early pace setters, as the competition wears on, they do get caught up and overtaken by the faster riders who are further down the order. At the moment, it's all about this man here, Kiriyanka of Belarus. Slovenia in 13th place at halfway, 2 minutes behind the leader. Mustn't forget the Netherlands in any cycling event. competed at the Olympic Games in Beijing 2008, finished 9th. Lots of experience, 32 years old.
And it was his teammate from the Netherlands, Ellen van Dijk, who won the gold in the women's individual time trials earlier today. He'd like nothing more than to make it a gold sweep on both time trials.
Poland nearly 2 minutes behind Belarus, 12th place at halfway. We have just 5 more of them to reach the halfway point. It's Russia, Netherlands, Italy, France and Spain. Now we need to see how far Rabayev of Russia has dropped behind after that little glitch. Ooh, didn't do him any good at all, did it? Lost a lot of ground.
I think you could easily say, if it weren't for having to change bikes, I mean, that minute he would be right there. They'd be neck and neck. You think of the time that he had to slow down, get the new bike, and then speed up again. Good amount of time that he lost.
Well, he was 5 or 6 seconds behind this man here at the quarter point. By halfway, he's over a minute behind and down in 6th place. Well, he may be able to claw back some of that on the second lap, but at the moment, Kirienka here is not showing any signs of slowing down. So Belarus, as things stand, heading for gold, but there's still plenty of time for something to happen. Netherlands completing the first half of the race in 3rd place. So in the bronze position as things stand. They won bronze in the women's event earlier today.
It's got to be a disappointing performance so far by the Netherlands' Stef Clement. He's a little bit further behind than he would like right now. Looks like he may not medal, and he was one of the favorites to end up on the podium here in Baku. So tough start. I mean, he's still in the hunt, but as of right now, not looking too good for the Netherlands rider.
Here's the leader.
A thumbs up and on his turn around that hairpin curve, and now heading back the final stretch.
Italy were the 3rd last to start in this time trial, and only France and Spain behind. This man here has been a frequent competitor at world and European level. Spaniard Herrada Lopez is last on the course. This is the man who loves the challenge of going up the side of a mountain. So the last few are about to come through the halfway point of this 51.6 kilometre circuit. Italy in 10th place, just have 2 more to go through, France and Spain. Italy head out onto the second circuit. Those who have completed can just sit and wait and see where they finish up of the original 40. This is the second Spaniard of the day, Gerardo Lopez. His compatriot Sanchez went really well. He's, as you saw there, been finished for some time. Switzerland about to make the third turn at the 3/4 mark, over 4 minutes behind the leader. So 45.17.24 is the standard to beat on that turn. But the man from Belarus has been so strong that they're all going to have to go to get anywhere near it. He's the man at the tail, there's nobody behind him. So when he's completed, the time trial will be over. Reaching the halfway point, see how his time compares, not only with the leader but also with his compatriot. He's 1:20 slower than Belarus, just in front of Lithuania. And out he goes on to the final lap. Ah, now this is interesting because here's Turgi for France coming in, and so the Spaniard must have gone past him. As you can see, France well down the list. And so the Frenchman is now bringing up the rear.
Stef Clement, the 4-time Dutch champ in the individual time trial, and has recorded top 3 finishes in ITTs at the World Championships.
Austria taking the turn at the 3/4 mark, not in medal contention.
Kirienka's numbers still holding up.
Well, so far he's been in a different league from everybody else. We saw some good performances earlier in the day. The Russian, Orabayev, was going well, only a few seconds behind when he struck disaster. He's still in the contest, but he's got a lot of ground to make up now.
Still fighting for a medal, but may have lost gold when he had issues with his bike and had to get a replacement. And kind of a disappointing time trial so far for Clement from the Netherlands. Still has an outside shot for a medal, but he's really going to have to pick it up in the last quarter of this race.
Belarus going really well. The gold medal is being polished. But we've seen how easy it is for just one moment to ruin everything, so he won't be confident until he's actually over the line. At the moment, it must be a pretty good feeling. Meanwhile, Portugal continues on, but here's the man who we feel is on his way to success in this time trial, unless something extraordinary happens. Kirienka of Belarus. There's the Russian, who was a close second on times until he had a problem. Had to change bikes. And in doing so, he's lost a lot of ground. He was only 5 or 6 seconds behind at that point, and when we last saw him, he was over a minute back. It's all about him. And he was 13 from the end to go, so when, assuming he does complete the course, we'll still have the remaining competitors to complete before we can do our final calculations. But if he carries on like that, the contest is for silver and bronze.
You can tell when some of these cyclists are laboring a little bit, the head will be straight down. They'll glance up every once in a while, but the head will be down. But if you notice for Kirienka, eyes straight ahead. Head was a little risen and looking straight ahead and looked very fresh.
Spaniard here, Gerardo Lopez, is still some way behind him quite early on the second and final lap.
See, head held high, and he, may not be aerodynamically the best place to have the head, but I mean, he's so confident in going so smooth right now. The head is more up, looking forward.
This second Spaniard of the day, along with a few of the others, is still heading up towards the three-quarter points. That's where the Norwegian is now, and 3 minutes behind the current leader from Belarus, with just a quarter of the race to complete for him, and behind him we have another 7. Well, this is the second time trial of the day for the men. We had the women's earlier. It was gold and bronze for the Netherlands. And we still have the road races to come in 2 days' time. One for women, one for men. That will be over a spectacular course around the city centre of Baku. Big moment here. Kirienka of Belarus.
Going to be under an hour.
Oh, he's well under. Sanchez for Spain. His time looked to be really good earlier in the day, but he's been beaten by 1.5 minutes by Kirienka of Belarus, who takes the lead and has put severe pressure on everybody else. It would be amazing if anybody could beat that. So is it a gold for Belarus? We only have to wait a few more minutes to find out.
Just a strong finish by Kirienka. Nobody else has even come close to getting it under an hour, and he does it easily at 1.5 minutes ahead of Sanchez. You would think he'd be a lot more out of breath than that. He looks fairly fresh. Again, just this past month, he won a individual time trial that was 59 kilometers.
Well, he is a class act. We were expecting good things of him today. He didn't let us down. Always there in Olympic Games and big competitions all around the world. Yep, he looks pretty fresh. 3/4 mark here for the Netherlands. And things looking okay.
It's going to be close. See if he's able to work his way onto the medal stand.
Well, the Dutch rider and the Belarusian were two that we were looking out for right from the word go. Two very obvious medal contenders. And as things stand, Sanchez for Spain still hanging on in there after that excellent performance earlier in the day. Reis for Portugal here. Had a bit to do when we last saw the split time put him well out of the medal places, but as one of the youngest in the competition at just 22, it'll be even better to follow from him. There's the leader, Kirienka, Vasil Kirienka of Belarus.
And you know he's checking out the scoreboard and listening to the announcer, knowing there aren't a whole lot of riders behind him, and that right now he sits atop the leaderboard.
Denmark still going. Got about another dozen to come in. Köhler of Switzerland, you can see there from his time, and also the fact that he's swapped places in the order with Kirienka, was passed by the man from Belarus. Meanwhile, Reis of Portugal continues on, not too far behind those. So Köhler of Switzerland, who started 90 seconds ahead of Kirienka, comes in now several minutes behind. This is the Portuguese. Denmark still on the course. And as they come through one by one, we'll all be looking at those times to see whether any of them can get near Kirienka. Vorobayev of Russia looked a possibility. Clement of Netherlands is another. Now here is the Russian, speaking of him. Things seem to be going pretty well until he hit problems and lost the best part of a minute. And lost the best part of a minute.
It's going to be a fight for him right now to earn the bronze, but he still has an opportunity for that. But if he does get the bronze, he'll be thinking, what if? So close to perhaps getting the gold. That's now out of reach. Again, he had some mechanical issues with his bicycle and had to switch bikes during this time trial. Only had to switch once, which was better than Josef Cerna of the Czech Republic, who actually had to switch bikes twice early in this time trial.
This is Andreas Hofer of Austria to complete. Norway, Slovenia, Poland, Russia, Netherlands, Italy, France and Spain. Ukraine into 11th place. And there's Turkey into 26th place of those completing so far. Turkey started off 3 minutes ahead of Kirienka, and it just gives you an idea of his superiority. It seems ages since he finished. Gerardo Lopez coming up to the three-quarter point. 2 minutes 16. Slower. Portugal soon to complete. Into 12th place, 4.5 minutes slower than Belarus. He's just 22. Remember that he competed in the Youth Olympic Games in Singapore in 2010. He won the time trial there. So just 5 years ago, he was operating in the Youth Olympic Games, and now he's in the Senior European Games. So plenty more to come from him. Next in will be Denmark. And spurred on by the splendid moustache, he's got himself into 4th place. That was a good round by him.
Still, as far as I'm concerned, a gold medal mustache.
I do believe it was the only contender today. So maybe it takes gold, silver and bronze.
Uncontested. It was more of a handlebar mustache, if you remember, when he started, but the sweat dripping off right now has brought it down. It's not curling up like it was at the beginning of the time trial.
And there you see an illustration of just how hard it is out there.
And that shows you something, too, to see how much difficulty he's having right now and how much, a little bit of pain and aching and so forth. And then when we saw the, Kirienka cross the line, he looked as fresh as a daisy. That just says a lot about the conditioning of the Belarus rider. Just like marathons, I'm amazed sometimes you see people, cross finish lines in marathons, and some look fresh like they can run again, and others just collapse and barely have nothing left.
Czech Republic is next. Daniel Turek. He was 3rd in the national championships in 2012. So he'll be pretty happy with that, I would have thought.
Another sign of just how dominant Kirienka has been in this time trial. Nobody yet coming close to getting under an hour, and Kirienka was about 30 seconds underneath that.
This is one of the big ones, though. And he'll probably be the 4th last to finish.
Let's see if Clement can end up on the podium and sneak in there. He had some ground to make up in the final quarter of this race, but we knew from the get-go he was going to be one of the contenders.
Just 8 more to finish in this race against the clock. But a race that appears to have been won by Kirienka of Belarus, barring something quite quite remarkable. Norway about to complete. Borgersen. Well, he's nowhere near Kirienka. He's in 12th place. 1 minute. Well, less than half a minute actually in front of the one below it. Mustn't forget the temperatures here. You can see how windy it is at Bilga Beach today. It's often breezy in Baku, but the temperature is still around 30 Celsius. So it's hard work. Now the Russian, Vorobayev, what might have been had he not met with that problem, which needed a change of bike? And what about the possibility of a medal here for the Netherlands? We just have 7 more to complete. Slovenia, Poland, Russia, Netherlands, Italy, France and Spain.
Yeah, only a handful left on the course, and for Kirienka, he knows he's won a medal. Just a matter now, what color will it be? It looks more and more as each rider finishes the finishing line that it's going to be a gold.
Here's the Russian. He still had a bit of work to do to get into the first 3. This is Poland into 7th place. Good performance. 3 minutes behind the leader. Won the Tour of China last year. A good standard competitor. And a reminder of the quality of the competition today.
Steph Clement approaching the finish line. Getting closer and closer.
They're all coming in now. Slovenia and Russia. And the Netherlands.
He's got a better time. It's going to be close. See if he medals. He's not going to win gold, but on the verge of a medal. And he is. Right now, it's number 2, a silver. He picked up some time in the second half of the time trial.
Belarus in gold medal position. Netherlands in silver. Spain in 3rd. Sanchez, who went so well earlier in the day, has slipped down from that gold medal position, but there was really never any question that he was likely to hang on to it. But he'll be pleased if he does make the bronze, I'm sure.
And there are a couple more riders still on the course, but really the Russian who we've been following, the one that had the problem, Vorobayev, is really the only one right now that might crack the top 3.
And still waiting for Italy, France and Spain.
But going by some of the split times that we've seen, none of the others really are in the race for a medal. So we'll see. We'll see if the Russian can somehow pick up his time in the last quarter of the race and somehow make it to the medal stand. Otherwise, it looks like we could be set.
Just 3 left on the course now. Italy, Spain and France. Barrow of Italy should be the first of those 3 to complete. Finishing line isn't too far away. But it's looking good for Belarus, with Netherlands for the silver and Spain for the bronze. But they have to wait for the last 3 to complete. Italy here, just coming into the start and finishing complex. Completing for Italy there was Barrow in 10th place currently. Just 2 more out on the course.
At this point, obviously, Kirienko can start celebrating. He knows he's won a medal. It's just a matter of will it be gold. He obviously has no idea the times of the riders still on the course and how they've fared. We know they have no chance of catching them. He doesn't know that yet.
And this is one of the 2 remaining cyclists on the course. We have Herrada Lopez here for Spain and Turgi for France. We saw that Herrada Lopez had overtaken the Frenchman Turgi a long way around the halfway stage. It remains to be seen whether the Frenchman is still going. But here is the Spaniard, the second one of the day. His compatriot is in the bronze medal position. As he comes round now to the finishing line and completes in 9th place. So the only question now is whether the Frenchman's still out on the course. And if he is, he's most unlikely to beat the time of the Belarusian because he was himself overtaken by the Spaniard. Conditions, just being inside that helmet for an hour. 51.6 kilometers.
Well, I think you have your answer. If he's still on the course, there he is.
Well, he's getting an escort all the way home. And when he completes, I do believe that's it. And then the results will be official.
Right, considering it looks like there's a convoy behind him of all the other, a lot of other cars and vehicles, that he's the last man standing behind, making it official. The one expected to win it all looks like it's going to come true. Kirienko of Belarus.
But this man here, Anthony Turgi of France, he started off 90 seconds in front of Gerardo Lopez for Spain, who we've just seen finishing. So there's no way that he's going to have an impact on the result. But we'll see him home, because until he has got there and we've got an official time, we can't declare the winner, but we're 99.9% certain of who's going to take the gold medal here. And in fact, it wasn't in doubt from the time he went past the marker at the quarter point. He was so far ahead of Sanchez, who'd set the pace for Spain. Half a minute ahead from memory. That it needed some technical problem, or for him to slow down significantly before the finish to put him out of goal position.
Some highlights of Sanchez, who's going to end up with a silver.
Bronze
medal. Yep. That's right. The Netherlands getting a bronze medal after getting a gold and bronze in the women's time trial earlier today.
Yes, this is a rundown of the medals. Spain for bronze, Netherlands for silver. It was a solid round for him, but he was never in a position where you felt that he could take the gold. And the reason for that is an outstanding performance by Kirienko, Vasyl Kirienko from Belarus, who completed the first quarter of the course 30 seconds